Hey, I just got an email from Katie.
Oh, did she make it home okay?
Yeah, she did. It was a really nice email. She was thanking us for the 9 days that we put her up when she was here, and also for the great time that we showed her.
Yeah, I mean, thinking back, we really crammed in a lot.
We did. She also said she enjoyed meeting you and getting to know you. She confided in me that you're a keeper.
Oh, that's nice. Good. Yeah, I like, it's cool the way she pretty much just was able to go with the flow. I mean, we pick her up at the airport. I knew that she was really tired because she had said that she had to get up really early in the morning to catch her flight and that she really only slept a few hours. So right after we pick
Right.
her up, we go out and grab a bite to eat, and then we came home for, I don't know, maybe an hour, and before you know it, we're off to see that concert at the Warfield.
Right. Yeah, and so we did that Saturday night, and then Sunday morning we had to wake up early and go to Beta Breakers, which she thoroughly enjoyed. And then that night we went back to the Warfield for the very last show before it closed.
Yeah, that was really cool that she was able to go to the Warfield because, I mean, that place is a landmark. It's been around since, like, the late 1800s, and here it is now that they said that they were going to be closing it. There really was no other opportunity to go and, see a piece of history.
Yeah,
Yeah. What you
yeah.
have to say about Beta Breakers? I mean, that's an iconic San Francisco event.
I think she was pretty shocked. Beta Breakers, although it's a race, you would never be able to tell it because it seems like it's just a drunk costumed
It
fest.
seems like a party, actually, to me.
It does. Or uncostumed. There are so many naked people as well.
Yeah.
So
You know what the mayor said when he ran it last year?
I know what you're going to say, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. He said, "I was surprised there weren't more naked people."
I know, I love that.
That
He
was
made that
funny.
comment. That was my right when I first moved here, and I was like, yes, I've moved to the right place.
That's great. Yeah.
But as far as like other things that we did, I think she also really enjoyed getting out of the city. One day Tim took her to Muir Woods, so she really had a great time there, just
Oh
seeing
man.
the redwoods.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. I mean, when you go through that area, I mean, it's breathtaking. It makes for a great picture.
Yeah,
The other
yeah,
great thing is I love the fact that so many people come from all over the world to see the big redwoods. I mean, it's really something that you can take for granted living here. But then when you see all the people who come from far and wide just to come to see them, you really see like how much of an appreciation you should have for them.
oh yeah, yeah.
Some
And
of those
then
things you can't even put your arms around. They're so big.
I
You can
know,
step inside some of the trees. I mean, it's crazy.
yeah, yeah. And then remember that other day too? He drove she and I down Highway 1. That's always nice to drive along the coast. It's a really pretty drive.
Oh yeah, and you can stop and go to the beach. Man, San Francisco, we have the beach, we have mountains, we have the trees. Like we have the best of both worlds here.
I know. My brother commented on that when he visited here.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss, and we just wanted to let you know that this material is copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com. Hello there. Welcome to the mini story lesson for the conversation Visit to San Francisco, Part 1. Okay, I'm going to start the story now. Madonna got into a big fight with her husband. So she decided to go to Nepal for the day. She bought a plane ticket and she went to the airport to catch her flight. When she got to Nepal, her friend Binay picked her up. That day, they crammed in a lot. They went on a short hike, and then they ate lunch. Nepal had amazing food and beautiful mountains. It was the best of both worlds. Then, after lunch, they visited a temple. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple, and one of them jumped on Madonna's back. The monkey kissed her and then ran away. It made for a great picture. Before she knew it, it was time to go home. Madonna enjoyed her trip to Nepal, but she missed her husband. She now knows that she should not take him for granted. Okay, so that's our story. Now I will read the story again, and I will ask you questions this time. Please answer the questions out loud after I ask them. And if you need a little more time, then pause your iPod or your computer or whatever you're playing the lesson on. You can pause it. And then when you feel like you've had enough time to answer the question, then you can play it again. And as always, if you just feel like listening and not answering the questions out loud, well, then that's okay too. Okay, here we go. Madonna got into a big fight with her husband. Did Madonna get into a big fight with her husband? Yes, she did. Madonna got into a big fight with her husband. What did Madonna do? Did she get into a fight or sing a song? She got into a fight. Who got into a fight? Madonna. Madonna got into a fight. Did Madonna or Samantha get into a fight? Madonna did. Madonna got into a fight. Who did she get into a fight with? Her husband. She got into a fight with her husband. Did she get into a fight with her father or her husband? Her husband. She got into a fight with her husband. Did she get into a small fight with her husband? No, it wasn't just a small fight. Did she get into a big fight with her husband? Yes, she did. She got into a big fight with her husband. So she decided to go to Nepal for the day. Did she decide to go to Nepal for the day? Yes, she did. She decided to go to Nepal for the day. What did she decide to do? To go to Nepal. She decided to go to Nepal. Who decided to go to Nepal? Madonna did. Madonna decided to go to Nepal. Did Madonna's husband decide to go to Nepal? No, her husband didn't decide to go to Nepal. Did Madonna decide to go to Nepal? Yes, she did. Madonna decided to go to Nepal. Where did she decide to go? To Nepal. She decided to go to Nepal. Did she decide to go to Germany or Nepal? Nepal. She decided to go to Nepal. She bought a plane ticket. Did she buy a plane ticket? Yes, she did. She bought a plane ticket. What did she do? She bought a plane ticket. That's what she did. Did she buy a plane ticket or a boat ticket? A plane ticket. She bought a plane ticket. Who bought a plane ticket? Madonna. Madonna bought a plane ticket. What did she buy? A plane ticket. She bought a plane ticket. Did she buy a plane ticket or a car? A plane ticket. She bought a plane ticket. Did she buy a plane ticket to Nepal? Yes, she did. She bought a plane ticket to Nepal. And she went to the airport to catch her flight. Did she go to the airport to catch her flight? Yes, she did. She went to the airport to catch her flight. What did she do? Well, she went to the airport to catch her flight. Did she go to the airport to get on a plane? Yes, she did. She went to the airport to catch her flight, which is the same thing as saying she went to the airport to get on a plane. Who went to the airport to catch her flight? Madonna did. Madonna went to the airport to catch her flight. Did Madonna's mother go to the airport to catch her flight? No, her mother didn't go. Madonna went. Where did she go? To the airport. She went to the airport. Did she go to the library? No, she didn't go to the library. She went to the airport. Why did she go to the airport? To catch her flight. She went to the airport to catch her flight. Did she go to the airport to get on a plane? Yes, she did. She went to the airport to catch her flight, which is the same thing as saying she went to the airport to get on a plane. To catch a flight means to get on a plane. When she got to Nepal, her friend Binay picked her up. Did her friend Binay pick her up when she got to Nepal? Yes, he did. He picked her up when she got to Nepal. Who picked her up? Binay picked her up. Her friend Binay. Is Binay her friend? Yes, he is. Binay is her friend. What did Binay do? Well, he picked her up. Did Binay meet her at the airport and give her a ride? Yes, he did. Binay picked her up, which means that he met her at the airport and gave her a ride. When someone picks you up, that means they usually meet you wherever you are, and then they give you a ride. So Binay met her at the airport and gave her a ride. He picked her up. When did he pick her up? Well, he picked her up when she got to Nepal. Did he pick her up when she got to India? No, it wasn't when she got to India. Did he pick her up when she got to Nepal? Yes, he did. He picked her up when she got to Nepal. Did he meet her at the airport when she got to Nepal? Yes, he did. He picked her up when she got to Nepal, and she came into the airport. So he met her at the airport when she got to Nepal. Did he give her a ride when she got to Nepal? Yes, he did. He picked her up, which means he met her when she arrived and gave her a ride. Picked up means to meet someone and then to give them a ride. That day, they crammed in a lot. Did they cram in a lot that day? Yes, they did. That day, they crammed in a lot. What did they do that day? They crammed in a lot. Who crammed in a lot? Benet and Madonna. Benet and Madonna crammed in a lot. Did they do nothing that day? No, they didn't do nothing that day. They crammed in a lot. Did they do a lot in a short amount of time? Yes, they did. They crammed in a lot, which means that they did a lot in a short amount of time. Crammed in means to do a lot in a short time. When did they cram in a lot? That day. That day they crammed in a lot. Did they cram in a lot the next day or that day? That day. They crammed in a lot that day. Did Madonna and Benet cram in a lot that day? Yes, they did. Madonna and Benet crammed in a lot that day. Did Madonna and Benet do a lot of things in a short time that day? Yes, they did. They crammed in a lot, which means that they did a lot of things in a short time. Crammed in means to do a lot of things in a short time. They went on a short hike and then they ate lunch. Okay, so what did they do? Well, they went on a short hike and then they ate lunch. Did they go on a short hike? Yes, they did. They went on a short hike. Did they eat lunch? Yes, they did. They went on a short hike, then ate lunch. What did they do first? Go on a short hike or eat lunch? Well, first they went on a short hike and then they ate lunch. So they went on a short hike first. Who went on a short hike? Madonna and Benet. Madonna and Benet went on a short hike. Did they go on a long hike? No, they didn't go on a long hike. They went on a short hike. Nepal had amazing food and beautiful mountains. What did Nepal have? Well, it had amazing food and beautiful mountains. Did Nepal have bad food? No, it didn't have bad food. It had amazing food, meaning very good food. Did Nepal have amazing food? Yes, it did. It had amazing food. It had delicious food. It had really good food. Did Nepal have beautiful mountains? Yes, it did. Nepal had beautiful mountains. It still does have beautiful mountains. Did Nepal have ugly mountains? No, that is definitely not true. Nepal does not have ugly mountains. Were Nepal's mountains beautiful? Yes, Nepal's mountains were beautiful, and Nepal's mountains still are beautiful. It was the best of both worlds. Was it the best of both worlds? Yes, it was. It was the best of both worlds. What was the best of both worlds? Well, Nepal had the best of both worlds. And what they're referring to is the fact that they had both amazing food and they have beautiful mountains. So they have the best of both of those two worlds, is what they're saying. Food and mountains. Did Nepal have two things that were very good? Yes, you could say that. They had the best of both worlds. When something is the best of both worlds, it means that it has two things that are different, but that are both very good. And in this case, they're talking about the food and the mountains, both being different, but very good. Then after lunch, they visited a temple. Did they visit a temple after lunch? Yes, they did. They visited a temple after lunch. What did they do? Well, they visited a temple. Who visited a temple? Madonna and Benet. Madonna and Benet visited a temple. Did Madonna visit a temple? Yes, she did. Madonna visited a temple. Did Madonna's husband visit a temple? No, her husband didn't visit a temple. He's not even in Nepal. Did Benet visit a temple? Yes, he did. Benet visited a temple. What did they visit? Did they visit a temple or a library? A temple. They visited a temple. Okay, so when did they visit the temple? After lunch. They visited the temple after lunch. Did they visit the temple after dinner? No, they didn't visit it after dinner. Did they visit the temple before lunch? No, they didn't visit the temple before lunch. Did Madonna and Benet visit the temple after lunch? Yes, they did. They visited the temple after lunch. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple. Were there a lot of monkeys at the temple? Yes, there were. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple. What was at the temple? Well, there were a lot of monkeys at the temple. Were there a lot of birds or monkeys at the temple? Monkeys. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple. Was there just one monkey at the temple? No, there was more than just one monkey. Were there many monkeys at the temple? Yes, there were a lot of monkeys, which means there were many monkeys at the temple. Where were there a lot of monkeys? At the temple. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple. Were there a lot of monkeys at the temple or the cafe? The temple. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple. And one of them jumped on Madonna's back. Did one of them jump on Madonna's back? Yes, one of them jumped on Madonna's back. What jumped on Madonna's back? A monkey. A monkey jumped on Madonna's back. Did a lion or a monkey jump on Madonna's back? A monkey. A monkey jumped on Madonna's back. What did the monkey jump on? Madonna's back. The monkey jumped on Madonna's back. Did the monkey jump on Madonna or Will Smith's back? On Madonna's back. The monkey jumped on Madonna's back, not Will Smith's back. How many monkeys jumped on Madonna's back? One. One monkey jumped on Madonna's back. Did a monkey jump on Benet's shoulder? No, a monkey didn't jump on Benet's shoulder. Did a monkey jump on Madonna's back? Yes, that's what happened. A monkey jumped on Madonna's back. The monkey kissed her and then ran away. Did the monkey kiss her and run away? Yes, the monkey kissed her and ran away. What did the monkey do? It kissed her and ran away. Did the monkey hug her? No, the monkey didn't hug her. Did the monkey kiss her? Yes, the monkey kissed her. Did the monkey walk away? No, the monkey didn't walk away. Did the monkey run away? Yes, the monkey ran away. Who kissed her? The monkey. The monkey kissed her. Who did the monkey kiss? Madonna. The monkey kissed Madonna. Did the monkey kiss Benet or Madonna? Madonna. The monkey kissed Madonna and then ran away. It made for a great picture. Did it make for a great picture? Yes, it did. It made for a great picture. Did it look good enough to take a picture of? Yes, it did. It made for a great picture, which is the same thing as saying it looked good enough to take a picture of. When something makes for a great picture, it means that it looks good enough to take a picture of. What made for a great picture? Well, the monkey kissing Madonna made for a great picture. That would have been a great picture to see the monkey kissing Madonna. Did the monkey look good enough to take a picture of? Yes, he did. When the monkey was kissing Madonna, it looked good enough to take a picture of. So yes, the monkey looked good enough to take a picture of. Before she knew it, it was time to go home. Was it time to go home before she knew it? Yes, it was. Before she knew it, it was time to go home. Was it time to go home before she realized it? Yes, it was. It was time to go home before she knew it, which is the same thing as saying it was time to go home before she realized it. Before she knew it means before she realized it. Was it time for Benet to go home? No, it wasn't time for Benet to go home. Was it time for Madonna to go home? Yes, it was. It was time for Madonna to go home. Madonna enjoyed her trip to Nepal. Did Madonna enjoy her trip to Nepal? Yes, she did. She enjoyed her trip to Nepal. What did Madonna enjoy? Her trip to Nepal. She enjoyed her trip to Nepal. Did she enjoy some ice cream? No, she didn't enjoy some ice cream. Did she enjoy her trip to Germany? No, she didn't go to Germany. Did she enjoy her trip to Nepal? Yes, she did. She enjoyed her trip to Nepal. Did she really like her trip to Nepal? Yes, she did. She enjoyed it, so she really liked it. She enjoyed her trip to Nepal. But she missed her husband. Did she miss her husband? Yes, she did. She missed her husband. Who missed her husband? Madonna. Madonna missed her husband. Who did she miss? Well, she missed her husband. That's who she missed. Did she miss her father or her husband? Her husband. She missed her husband. Did Madonna miss her husband? Yes, she did. Madonna missed her husband. She now knows that she should not take him for granted. Does she know that she should not take him for granted? Yes, she does. She knows that she should not take him for granted. What does she know? Well, she knows that she should not take him for granted. Who knows that she should not take him for granted? Madonna. Madonna knows that she should not take him for granted. Does she know that she should appreciate him? Yes, she does. She knows that she should not take him for granted, which is the same thing as saying she knows that she should appreciate him. When you take someone for granted, that means you do not appreciate them. Who should she not take for granted? Her husband. She should not take her husband for granted. Should she appreciate her husband? Yes, she should. She should not take him for granted, which means that she should appreciate him. Does Madonna now know that she should not take her husband for granted? Yes, she does. She now knows that she should not take him for granted. Does Madonna now know that she should appreciate her husband? Yes, she does. She knows that she should not take him for granted, which is the same thing as saying she knows that she should appreciate him. Taking someone for granted means that you do not appreciate them. So if she should not take him for granted, that means that she should appreciate him. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our story, which means we have now reached the end of the mini story lesson for the conversation Visit to San Francisco, Part 1. Now please tell the story by yourself. Remember, you do not need to memorize all of the words in the story, but you should use the idioms that we discussed. Okay, so in this story, here are the idioms that we did discuss. Catch her flight, picked her up, crammed in, the best of both worlds, it made for a great picture, before she knew it, and take him for granted. Okay, so now please try to tell the story by yourself. Remember, you can listen to this mini story lesson as many times as you need to. So please listen to it again if you do need to. Okay, so that's all. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com. Hello, everyone. Today we're going to listen to the point of view stories for Visit to San Francisco, Part 1. Now, we've already heard one version of this story in the mini-story lesson. Today we're going to hear 3 other versions of the same story. Each one will have a different time for the story, or it will have a different person telling the story. I hope you're ready, because here we go. Madonna gets into a big fight with her husband. So she decides to go to Nepal for the day. She buys a plane ticket and she goes to the airport to catch her flight. When she gets to Nepal, her friend Benet picks her up. That day, they cram in a lot. They go on a short hike, and then they eat lunch. Nepal has amazing food and beautiful mountains. It is the best of both worlds. Then, after lunch, they visit a temple. There are a lot of monkeys at the temple, and one of them jumps on Madonna's back. The monkey kisses her and then runs away. It makes for a great picture. Before she knows it, it is time to go home. Madonna enjoys her trip to Nepal, but she misses her husband. She now knows that she should not have taken him for granted. Okay, so you can hear that we just heard the story being told as if it is happening right now. Next, we're going to hear the story as if it happened 12 days from now. So it's happening in the future. Okay, here we go. 12 days from now, Madonna is going to get into a big fight with her husband. So she's going to decide to go to Nepal for the day. She'll buy a plane ticket and go to the airport to catch her flight. When she gets to Nepal, her friend Binay will pick her up. That day, they're gonna cram in a lot. They're gonna go on a short hike and then they'll eat lunch. Nepal will have amazing food and beautiful mountains. It'll be the best of both worlds. Then, after lunch, they'll visit a temple. There are going to be a lot of monkeys at the temple, and one of them will jump on Madonna's back. The monkey will kiss her and then run away. It'll make for a great picture. Before she'll know it, it's going to be time to go home. Madonna's going to enjoy her trip to Nepal, but she'll miss her husband. She'll now know that she shouldn't take him for granted. Okay, so that's the end of this version of the story, where the events will take place 12 days from now. You can hear me saying will and going to, because this is how we speak about something that has not yet happened, something that's going to happen in the future. Okay, now let's hear the story from Madonna's point of view. So in this version, Madonna's going to be telling us the story. Here goes. I got into a big fight with my husband, so I decided to go to Nepal for the day. I bought a plane ticket and I went to the airport to catch my flight. When I got to Nepal, my friend Binay picked me up. That day, we crammed in a lot. We went on a short hike, and then we ate lunch. Nepal has amazing food and beautiful mountains. It's the best of both worlds. Then, after lunch, we visited a temple. There were a lot of monkeys at the temple, and one of them jumped on my back. The monkey kissed me and then ran away. It made for a great picture. Before I knew it, it was time to go home. I enjoyed my trip to Nepal, but I missed my husband. I now know that I should not take him for granted. Alright, so now we've finished the point of view stories for the lesson Visit to San Francisco Part 1. Now it's time to go back and listen to these stories again on your own. Listen to them until you feel like you know them very well. Then, try to tell the story to yourself. Or you can even tell it to a friend or one of your family members. If you're having trouble telling one of the stories, then just listen to it again, and then try to tell the story on your own. Remember, learning a language takes time, and we want to learn everything deeply, so we do not forget it. Okay, that's all for now. See you next time.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2009 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com.
Hello, and welcome to the vocabulary lesson for the conversation Visit to San Francisco Part 1. So this conversation actually has two parts. This is the first part. In this conversation, I'm speaking with Joe about a friend of mine who came to visit us in San Francisco. And Joe and I are just talking about the things that we did when she was here visiting us. Okay, let's begin with the conversation. I start off by saying, hey, and I'm just saying this to get Joe's attention. And I go on to say, I just got an email from Katie. Now, just here means a short time ago. And Joe says, oh. And oh is just a filler word. It's not really needed in this sentence. And Joe goes on to say, did she make it home okay? So he's asking, did she get home all right? And I say, yeah, she did. Now, yeah is slang or casual or informal for yes. And I go on to say, it was a really nice email. She was thanking us for the 9 days that we put her up when she was here. Now, put her up or put up. This means have someone, or in this conversation, have her, or have someone stay at your home. Put up. For example, when my younger brother and his girlfriend visited San Francisco, I put them up in my apartment for 2 nights. Put up. Okay, going back to the conversation, I go on to say, and also for the great time that we showed her. So I'm saying she's also thanking us for the great time that we all had together. The great time that we showed her. And then Joe says, yeah, and I mean here is just filler. It's not really needed. And Joe goes on to say, thinking back, we really crammed in a lot. Thinking back, this means remembering. Thinking back. An example of thinking back would be, thinking back to when I lived in Thailand, I have a lot of good memories. Thinking back. Now, when Joe says we really crammed in a lot, crammed in means to do a lot in a short time. Crammed in. For example, when I went to Ireland for 1 week, I crammed in a lot. Crammed in. And then I say, we did. So I'm just agreeing with Joe. And I go on to say, she also said she enjoyed meeting you and getting to know you. She, is just a filler word here. It's not really needed. And I go on to say, confided in me that you're a keeper. Now, confided in, this means told in secret. Confided in. For example, my brother confided in me that his wife was pregnant. He had not yet told anyone else. Confided in. And when I'm telling Joe that my friend Katie says that he's a keeper, what that means is, or specifically here, it means someone good to continue dating. A keeper. And then Joe just laughs and says, oh, that's nice. Good. And then I laugh. And then Joe says, yeah, I like... And like is just a filler word here. It's not really needed in the sentence. And Joe goes on to say, you know, and you know is short for you know. And Joe says, it was cool the way she pretty much just was able to go with the flow. Pretty much meaning the way she was really able to go with the flow. When Joe says pretty much just was able to go with the flow, just is just a filler word. It's not really needed. And when Joe says it was cool the way she was able to go with the flow, what he's saying is it was good. Cool. Cool means here good. For example, my brother used to think that driving cars fast was cool. And when Joe said go with the flow means to do without planning. Go with the flow. An example of go with the flow would be, whenever I travel, I like to just go with the flow. I do not make many plans. Go with the flow. And then Joe goes on to say, I mean, you know, we pick her up at the airport. I knew that she was really tired because she had said that she had to get up really early in the morning to catch her flight. And that she really only slept a few hours. Few here means more than 2, but not very many. Usually it means 3 to 4. So she only slept a few hours, maybe 3 to 4 hours. When Joe says catch her flight means to board or get on an airplane. Catch her flight. For example, Sally was in a hurry to catch her flight. She did not want the plane to leave without her. Catch her flight. And then I say right, and I'm just agreeing with Joe. And then Joe says so, and so is just a filler word here. It's not really needed. And he goes on to say right after, or he's saying soon after, we pick her up. Pick her up, this means soon after we met and gave her a ride. Pick her up, met and gave her a ride. For example, I had a friend coming to visit in Thailand. I had to be at the airport at 1:30 in the afternoon to pick her up. Pick her up. And Joe goes on to say, we go out and grab a bite to eat. Grab a bite. This means to eat some food. Grab a bite. For example, we grabbed a bite to eat before we went to the concert. Grabbed a bite or grab a bite. And then Joe goes on to say, and then we came home for, I don't know, maybe an hour? And here is a filler word. It's not really needed. Joe goes on to say, before you know it, this means before you realized it. Or it means that time went quickly, it went fast. Before you know it. For example, my nephew is getting older. Before you know it, he will be driving a car. Before you know it. So Joe is saying, and before you know it, we're off to see that concert at the Warfield. We're off. This means we are leaving to go somewhere. We're off. For example, 3 months from now, we are off to Africa. We're off. And when Joe says we're off to see that concert at the Warfield, this is a theater. It's the Warfield Theater, a theater in San Francisco where concerts are performed. The Warfield. And then I say, right. Yeah, and so we did that Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, we had to wake up early and go to Bay to Breakers, which she thoroughly enjoyed. Bay to Breakers, this is the name of a running race in San Francisco. Bay to Breakers. And when I say thoroughly enjoyed, thoroughly means completely. She completely enjoyed. For example, I thoroughly cleaned the apartment before I moved in. Thoroughly. And moving along in the conversation, I go on to say, and then that night we went back to the Warfield for the very last show before it closed. Now, when I'm speaking about the Warfield closing, what I'm talking about here is the Warfield closed for about 3 months. Everyone thought it was not ever going to reopen. However, after about 3 months, it did reopen. And then Joe says, yeah, that was really cool. Or he's saying that was very cool that she was able to go to the Warfield because, I mean, that place is a landmark. Landmark. Here, landmark means a building that is important. Landmark. And then Joe says, it's been around, or he's saying it's been open since, like, you know, the late 1800s. And here it is now that they said they were going to be closing it. Gonna, this is short or slang for going to. Gonna. You won't really see this in written English, but you'll hear it in conversational English. And then Joe goes on to say, there really was no other opportunity, or he's saying there really was no other chance to go and, you know, to see a piece of history. When Joe says to see a piece of history, he's talking about to visit such an old building. And then I say, yeah, just agreeing with Joe. And then Joe says, what'd she have to say about Beta Breakers? So what he's asking here is, what did she think about Beta Breakers? And Joe goes on to say, I mean, that's an iconic San Francisco event. Iconic, this means famous or well known. Iconic. And I say, I think she was pretty shocked. Pretty shocked. This means here very surprised. Pretty shocked. For example, I was pretty shocked by the way the movie ended. Pretty shocked. And I go on to say, you know, Beta Breakers, although, or I'm saying even though, it's a race, you would never be able to tell it. So I'm saying you would not know it. And I say, because it seems like, or I'm saying it seems as though it's just a drunk, costumed fest. Fest is short for festival. So what I'm saying here, a drunk, costumed fest, I'm saying that it seems like a festival where there are a lot of drunk people all wearing costumes. Costumes are like crazy-looking party clothes. And then Joe says, it seems like a party, actually, to me. So he's saying, it seems like a party, really, to me. And I say, it does, just agreeing with him. And then I go on to say, or uncostumed. So what I mean here is people not wearing costumes. And I go on to say, there are so many naked people as well. Naked people, meaning people not wearing any clothes at all. So there are so many naked people as well, or so many naked people also. And then Joe says, yeah, you know what? And I say, so, and Joe says, you know what the mayor said when he ran it last year. Now, mayor, this is the highest government person for a city. When Joe says, do you know what the mayor said when he ran it last year? The mayor of San Francisco really ran the Beta Breakers race last year. And then I say, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead. So I'm saying, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and tell me anyway. And then Joe says, yeah, he said, I was surprised there weren't more naked people. And then I say, I know, I love that. Or I'm saying, I really like that. And I go on to say that he made. And then Joe says, that was funny. And then I finish by saying, that comment. So I'm saying, I really like that the mayor made that comment, or I really like what the mayor said. And then I say, that was right when I first moved here. And I was like, yes, I've moved to the right place. Or I'm saying, the right place for me to live. I've moved to the right place, or I've moved to a good place for me to live. And then Joe laughs and says, that's great. And then I laugh and I say, but you know, as far as like other things that we did, I think she also really enjoyed getting out of the city. So I'm saying, I think that my friend Katie also had a good time going outside of San Francisco or getting out of the city. And then I go on to say, and is just a filler word here. It's not really needed. And then I say, one day Tim took her to Muir Woods. Muir Woods, this is a place with a lot of beautiful, big, beautiful trees. It's just maybe a 30-minute drive north of San Francisco. Just right across the Golden Gate Bridge. So I'm saying Tim took her to Muir Woods. And I go on to say, so she really had a great time there. And Joe says, oh man. So he's just showing emotion here, thinking about Muir Woods. And then I say, just seeing the redwoods. So I'm saying, Katie, my friend, had a really good time at Muir Woods, seeing the redwoods. Redwoods are a kind of tree. Redwood trees, redwoods. For example, there are a lot of redwoods in California. They're called redwoods because they actually are a little bit red in color. And then Joe says, yeah, it's beautiful up there. So when he says up there, he's speaking about Muir Woods, where the redwood trees are. He's saying up there because Muir Woods is actually north of San Francisco. And then Joe goes on to say, I mean, when you go through that area, it's breathtaking. Breathtaking. This means amazing. Breathtaking. For example, the mountains of Nepal are breathtaking. And then Joe says, it makes for a great picture. It makes for a great picture. This means it looks good enough to take a picture of. For example, the mountains of Nepal make for a great picture. And then I say, yeah, agreeing with Joe. And Joe says, the other great thing is, I love the fact that so many people come from all over the world, or he's saying so many people come from around the world to see the big redwoods. It's really something that, you can take for granted living here. Take for granted, this means to not appreciate. Take for granted. For example, people sometimes take their health for granted. They eat badly and do not exercise. Take for granted. And then Joe goes on to say, but, and but is a filler word, it's not really needed here. And he goes on to say, then when you see all the people who come from, far and wide, this means from everywhere. Far and wide. For example, people come from far and wide to see the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. Far and wide. So Joe's saying people come from far and wide just to, come to see him. This is short for them. And then Joe goes on to say, you really see how much of an appreciation or how much of a liking you should have for them. And then I say, oh, yeah. Yeah, and then Joe says, some of those things you can't even put your arms around. They're so big. So what he's speaking about here, when he says some of those things, he's talking about the redwood trees. Some of them just get really, really big. And then I say, I know. And Joe says, you can step inside some of the trees. I mean, it's crazy, When he says you can step inside some of the trees, you really can do this in some of the redwood trees because they have big open spaces at the bottom. And when he says, I mean, it's crazy, it's crazy. Here it means unbelievable. It's crazy. For example, I can't believe that Colby failed his driving test. It's crazy. He's such a good driver. And then I say, yeah. And then, remember that other day, too. Or I'm saying, remember that other day also. He drove, and I'm talking about Tim, our friend. He drove she and I, so Tim drove me and my friend Katie. He drove she and I down Highway 1. Highway 1, this is a main road going north and south out of San Francisco. And I'm saying he drove down Highway 1 because we actually went south from San Francisco. And I go on to say, that's always nice to drive along the coast. Or I'm saying that's always nice to drive next to the ocean. And then I go on to say, it's a really pretty drive. And Joe says, oh yeah, and you can stop and go to the beach. Man. And here he's just showing emotion. And he goes on to say, San Francisco, we have the beach, we have mountains, we have the trees. We have the best of both worlds here. The best of both worlds. This means having two great things that are different. The best of both worlds. For example, California has beaches and mountains. It truly has the best of both worlds. And then I say, I know. My brother commented on that when he visited here. And Joe says, yeah, agreeing with me. Now this is the end of the vocabulary lesson for the conversation Visit to San Francisco Part 1. So if you feel you need to, go back and listen to the vocabulary lesson as many times until you have a basic understanding of the vocabulary words. And then when you feel ready, go on to the mini story. All right. See you for Visit to San Francisco Part 2. Bye-bye. Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com